Hi, Andrew Camphy here with Better Sheets, helping you make better sheets every single day. You might be using Google Sheets already to keep some kind of CRM or to keep data for your community. Maybe you're even using it to track your community size. I'm going to share 8 ways to make Sheets actually work for you and for your community. Meaning, it's not just a store of data, it's not just a place where you use it individually, but these 8 ways are going to enable your community to come together to create something together, maybe even without you, so you really know it's not an audience, but it's a community. I hope I expand your mind about Google Sheets and how it can help your community be better. Here's the 8 things we're going to go through. We'll go through each one. I'll give you some strategy around it. If you run a community and you're like, I would love to use this thing, comment down below. One of these 8, make your selection known. Comment down below which one you like as we're going through them. Number 1, community calendar. Now this is something you can simply make with just 7 columns, right? 7 days of the week. You can have different months. You can have tentpole events of things that are happening inside your community, either meetups or webinars. Any community you have, you're probably going to come together. Even if you're running a newsletter and you have newsletters that drop once a week, create a community calendar to let people know when you're dropping that edition. Let them know what's coming up. But also, what you can do with Google Sheets that's really unique is you can have a Google form and have community submissions and say, hey, who in the community wants to host an event or knows about an event that's happening? Number 2, event list. This is if you are showcasing events that are outside of the actual community that you run. If there's external events, Google Sheets is a great way to gather all of the information and let community members know. Also, let community members know where they can gather at those events. If it's a conference like VidCon, if it's a conference like an industry meet. Also, before the event, you can have people commute to the event together. Let them know where are you coming from? Which way are you going? Are you driving there? Are you walking there? Are you gathering the night before at a bar or at a hotel or a gathering place somewhere else, at a restaurant, at a Chili's or Applebee's nearby? What's also interesting is once that events are going on, you might have some kind of debrief or some kind of information that happens after the event. Let people know who didn't have a chance to go to the event what happened. What were the key insights? What did you learn there? Let your community share that with each other. Also, if there's any materials passed out or given out at an event, let your community share those materials. Your community, if it is online, it is probably worldwide or very disparate locations. And you want to get people together, but you might not know if they actually want to show up. One thing you can do is virtual meetups or coffee chats at a specific time. Actually, in the next one, I'm going to talk about predetermined times of matchmaking. But this one, you might also not just want to have coffee chats at a predetermined time, but connect 2 people, one who is new to your community and one who's been in your community for a little bit, like an onboarding buddy system. You can connect those people over coffee chat in a Google Sheet. You can also add locations of your community members. Let them consent to giving out their location. Maybe it's just a city, not actual addresses, of course, but add locations so that people can find out, are they in the same city, and have many get-togethers around your community. Some great communities that do this online already are Indie Hackers and Nomad List, who they have locations of each person, and people say, hey, I'm in this location. Does anyone want to meet up? And they meet up. Next up is matchmaking, where you can have people fill out a Google form and say, hey, anyone filling out this particular Google form this week, we're going to meet up at 2 p.m. on Saturday for coffee on Zoom. And I have created a matchmaking sheet that automatically matches people one-on-one and then emails them so they can meet up. I've done this in the product I call Better Letters, which is actually for newsletters, and one of the sheets is to do coffee matchmaking with your community. You can say, hey, fill out this form this week by Friday, and on Saturday at 2 p.m., I will email you all your matches and you'll meet someone at 2 p.m. So it's great, even if you're doing it remotely, it's awesome. Even if you're doing it in person, say, before events, we're going to match you together. Jump on a Zoom, and then when you walk into the event, you know someone already. One other way you can do matchmaking in Google Sheets is mentor and mentee matching. If you have people who are at different levels people who have expertise level or intermediate level, and you also have beginners. Mentor-mentee matching is a great way to connect that community. Skillshare. If you have those types of people who are at different levels, they might be at different levels of different things. One person might be an expert at Facebook ads. Another person might be an expert at copywriting. If you match them together and they can share their skills, you can create in a Google Sheet not just sharing of skills, but a marketplace, like a two-sided marketplace. You open up a sheet and you say, hey, put down your skill, what you want to offer, and then go through and see if you want to trade with anyone. And it could be a barter, but you could also sort of create a marketplace, a two-sided marketplace if you wish. One other thing, if you're doing creative communities, you could do collaborations where somebody says, hey, I want to do this project, and I'm looking for these 5 types of people to help me. And they can be very explicit with the kind of person they're looking for. Maybe if they're creating a video, they need an editor. They need voiceover. Collaborations are fun ways for people to do creative work together. You can also create an expert roundup or directory if you just want to list people and their contact information from your community. One way to do that, instead of doing a marketplace where you might have 2 sides, or collaborations where you don't necessarily know if people can really fit together well, what you can say is, hey, I'm just going to create one listing, one directory of experts for this community. It's only released to this community, so your contact information might be just an email, but it's only available to people in this community. Fill out this Google form. Next up is a community map. This one might be a little difficult to process, but basically this is very good for B2B enterprise communities where you're all part of a certain niche or industry, where you can share inside knowledge. You can create a sheet where everybody puts in their business and what they do, but also you can create a sheet that shares information from within that industry. For instance, if you have a group of ad media buyers and they want to share contact information, they're not necessarily sharing the thing they do, right? The skill they're doing, but they share information. If you have a community of influencers or creators, you can share rates with each other. How much do you charge for your work? If you have a community of booksellers, how much was your advance? If you are a local community and you are based in like some city like Boise, Idaho, or Tampa, Florida, you might be able to share locations of and reviews of certain businesses. You could make it like a mini Yelp. Going back to fully digital communities, you can create a content list in a Google Sheet where the community itself can share resources, tools, apps that they use. They can also share great tweets or great Instagrams or TikToks that are very useful to them. You can even share useful YouTube videos. But to make it better than just a list of links is next to each one you could either do ratings or reviews, rankings. You can also add testimonials. Say, hey, I watched this YouTube video and here's what I got out of it. I use this tool and here's how I use it. You could create a private testimonial network within your community. Expanding on that idea of a content list, you could create a virtual library. This might be deep expert articles that take a lot of time to digest. You can have reports or surveys about your industry. This is one way that I actually started my newsletter, is collecting reports, surveys, and studies about the industry that I was covering. But your community might be able to do that with you or even on their own for each other. And in addition to just saying, here's a great report, they could write their own summaries or even reviews and share them with your community. What I also like is that in Google Sheets, you can create shareable stats or quotes. Right next to them, you can create a link to, you can Google for Twitter intent URL. You can put a Twitter intent URL inside of a Google Sheet. To review, here are the 8 things that I've explained in this video. Comment down below on any of these that you want to see built, if you want to see it built here, if you want to see step-by-step how it's done. If you want to see how to make better Google Sheets, then definitely join BetterSheets.co. We discussed a community calendar in which you can share events that are happening within the community. You can create an event list of events, conferences that are happening outside of your specific community that you might be able to meet up at. You can create coffee chats, a way for people to meet online. You can even do matchmaking if you have some kind of mentor-mentee. And if you have different skills that you can share, create a Skillshare sheet. If your community is using resources, maybe make a map of those resources or apps. If you have a lot of content that your community watches, let them share it amongst themselves. And if you have deep articles or studies or reports that are very large, maybe large PDFs, you might be able to create a virtual library within your community and have your community submit. I hope you enjoyed these 8 ideas of how to create Google Sheets for your community. If you want any of these created step-by-step, comment which one you want down below. Don't make any sheets, make better sheets.